climate change has been identified as a global challenge of the 21st century, and it has been posited that the world is not as resilient as it used to, citing the COVID-19 pandemic that struck out nations, economical shutdown across nations, lives and properties, everything down the drain. Of course, about hundreds of thousands of people were reportedly killed by that same pandemic, of course. So we know from that that the world is not as resilient as it used to be. And unfortunately, humans have been very contributory to the causes of climate change. And we know for a fact, however, that humans, they are in the best position, of course, to bring solutions to the current situation of climate change. Meanwhile, in the search for ways to address sustainability challenges, there is a need to consider natural-based solution for climate mitigation and adaptation, and one of which is to plant trillion trees according to the Paris Agreement. Of course, yes, we'll be having this discussion in the course of this edition. And so, of course, let's go straight into some of these points that about restoration of 2 million kilometers square of forests and wetlands will deliver 2 billion metric tons of CO2 mitigation every year, whereas avoiding destruction across 0.1 million kilometers square could deliver 4 billion metric tons of CO2 every year. Very importantly, it's not just good to restore forest or degraded forested places, but it's also good to keep the old forest that we have. It's also good to keep the forest reserve, the forested areas we have in the country secure. That is what we'll be doing, and that is what we are encouraging to do. You're welcome. This is another edition of Plant a Decade Initiative. My name is Anoluwapo Ido, and I am the convener as well as the initiator of PADI. So today we'll be getting started with what we have today. But I would not do this alone. I have an important erudite scholar, someone of repute, talking about academic accolades, academic qualifications, you can imagine, who has invested into the world generally when it comes to forestry at large. So I'm going to be introducing Dr. Swoyambhu Man Amatya, of course, for today's discussion. We're having a conversation on the topic trees as natural-based solutions to climate change. Just to get straight into that topic, let me just go through some of the things he has done. Of course, he studied forestry from Indian Forest College in India. Also, his master's program was in Oxford University as well. His PhD was in Tribhuvan University in Kathmandu. He's written over 55 articles internationally and nationally. He's such a man of repute when it comes to academics and research and all of that. So he's also the coordinator, as we speak, of Agroforestry Research Group of International Union of Forest Research Organizations, IUFRO. Also is the chairperson of Nepal chapter of International Society of Tropical Foresters as well. He's also a member of the advisory board of Indian Ecological Society right there in India. And he will be joining in straight from Sydney in Australia, and I'm right here in Nigeria. I'll be having these conversations together. Hello, Dr. Swoyambhu Man Amatya. You're welcome on board.
Thank you very much, and good morning, everybody.
Yeah, good morning to us, and good evening to you as well.
Actually, I have prepared a very simple, simple how the trees will be responsible for climate change and how it is we can share the benefit of trees for the mankind, not only for the mankind, but for the whole wildlife and other organisms also.
Yeah,
So
biodiversity.
just to start with the topic given to me as trees as natural based solution to climate change, and I'm very happy to exchange my views on the forest trees with the trees are the gift of nature. They occur naturally throughout the world, but differ in their nature and composition depending on where they grow. I have tried to show the trees of tropical forest on your left-hand side and some of the trees of pistachio in Afghanistan. So this is how they differ in their growth and the composition also. They have these trees have their growth zones as well. So it it doesn't occur more than 4,100 meter altitude or so. That we call the tree line, if you like. And then their growth also depends on the locality factors. All the foresters, they know what is locality factors, but still, I would like to talk a little bit on the locality factors. They are normally defined as climate, geology, and topography. The composition of forest all over the world, including Nigeria and Nepal, varies largely based on this climatic factor. And besides trees, forests are also provide other types of services. They are in general categorized as ecosystem services. And they help minimize the air pollutions by absorbing atmospheric carbon, conserve biodiversity, and help maintain their equilibrium, balancing between prey and predators. And also help maintain hydrological cycle, conserve and improve soil and water overall watershed, improve water quality, and help reduce the effect of climate change, lowering the rise in temperature. And actually, the chief element of climate which influence vegetation are temperature, rainfall, and light, and the seasonal variations. Additionally, it varies with the slope aspect of a given locality. And the wind exposure has also bearing on the composition of forest. And if we see the drought conditions of even Nigeria, Kenya, and in India, we see the composition of trees, they varies. Thus, depending on the climate aspect and slope, the wind exposure, we have different types of forests throughout the world. And now I'm trying to give some of the basic products that tree would provide to us. The tree provide different types of products like timber for construction, industrial use, fodder for livestock, fuel for heating and cooking, medicine for human beings and livestock, resin, gum, dyes, etc., both for industrial and household use. Forests are also provide various kinds of food for human being, from mushroom to the vegetables that we eat every day of life in Nepal and other countries as well. And the forest and trees are the natural home for our wildlife, birds and many organisms. Here I have tried to show some of the big animals like rhinoceros and antelopes and the bird, the peacock. And some of the birds I could not see more. I could not show much more. It is the type of parrot in Australia. This is what I saw, and then it is the fundamental their fundamental rights to live. And actually, the world is not only for us; it is for them also. Wildlife are decreasing because of various reasons, and the habitat destructions due to deforestations and forest degradation, illegal poaching, and trade. I think we all know about that one. And the birds in our neighborhoods are disappearing. We all know. Varsals, known as a natural cleaner of Caracas, are also vanishing. The wolves also vanishing, and we sometimes see the in our neighborhood like lizards, big lizards. They are also vanishing very quickly, and it is very we should bear in mind that once they go, they will never return back. I think it reminds me the poem of Wordsworth saying, "When I was young, I used to read that mean may come and mean may go, but I go forever." I think similarly, the birds, wildlife, whatever it may be, once they go, they will never return. So, and for us, there is no point that human beings should be happy for that. If there is no vulture, there is no point that we should be happy. If there is no jackal or fox, we should not be happy. Because the natural equilibrium is ruptured, and we have to pay for that. And the climate change, if you like also, it is the resultant effect of the loss of habitat, the degradations, forest degradations, and all sort of the change in the habitat. Now, with this one, there are several approaches are being taken up by respective government and other non-government entities to save wildlife and habitat. For example, CITES, the Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species of Wild Flora and Fauna, is an international agreement between governments, and this aims to ensure that international trade in specimens of wild animals and plants does not threaten their survival. But having said so, but still we have the habitat loss and the wildlife are also decreasing. And there is a little bit shift that the trees provide shades, and one of the concept of developing urban forest is the outcome of the shade they would provide and minimize the temperature as well. We all know that, and all of us must have experience that under the shade of a tree, we feel a little bit cooler than open field without any shade. And so much so that if we retain forest, they follow the natural equilibrium process between human beings and overall ecosystems. It is the natural solution for minimizing the change of climate. But which tree species should help minimize the effect of climate change is a big question. So we have not answered that one. And it is for you researchers and students to think of that which trees that we should be planting that will help us to minimize the effect of climate change. Obviously, so much we know that evergreen trees can sequester more carbon than deciduous ones. It is because deciduous trees shed leaves mostly in winter month, whereas evergreen trees retain their leaves throughout the year. This is the basic things, but there are others. There are other factors, parameters also we should know. And climate change is mainly because of rise in temperature. Some of the effects of rise in temperature are melting of glaciers and lakes, rise in sea level, induced or increased problems of pests and diseases, and the countries which are having glaciers or lakes, they are in trouble. And also the countries which are in the sea, near the sea, they are also in trouble because of the rise in temperature. And the tropical forests have the problems of pest and disease. It is because increase in temperature as such. Now if we retain, now just to give you some example, the power of a tree, that it is about 15, more than 15 parameters that the tree can give. It is the courtesy of Mr. Gautam. I have taken it from FRIDA. It says improve soil quality and then captures rainwater, improve soil health, and the tree cleans the air, and so on and so forth. So a tree has the power of producing carbon dioxide and protect the human ultraviolet rays, and so on and so forth. So the tree is essential for us in our daily life also, and to maintain the ecosystem services also. And then trees are natural gift the gift for the welfare of human beings, provide both tangible and intangible products, and they vary in their composition depending on the site. These forests provide habitat for wildlife. These creatures have the right to enjoy their life. Once they are gone, they will not come back. This is what I said. And then climate change is taking its toll, disrupting ecological balance throughout the world. Trees are one of the natural solutions for combating the effect of climate change. Let us remember that happiness grows from tree. This is the slogan that one of the Japanese company, I think they are having with that one. And I love this this saying that happiness grows from tree. And then thank you very much, Udu, you and for this opportunity, and also Dr. Sheila Ward, ISTF Global, for putting the link in the ISTF newsletter so that I could come. I came to know that there is a possibility of talking the people like Udu and the others that of throughout the world. And thank you very much. And should you have any questions, I would be more than happy to answer to you. Thank you very much.
Much for your time. So I mean, like, very interesting. Gone straight into some of the very basic things we need to know, especially about trees, how it contributes to the climate mitigation and adaptation. Of course, you quite mentioned quite a number of things, very important. We would take note of that importantly. But one of the things I saw in that tree beautifully, one of the trees you projected in your PowerPoint is a tree that has different functions of trees, especially as regards climate mitigation and adaptation, how that, but there was one in particular that struck me, that got me interested, about pollution. And I want to say that trees benefit human health by filtering pollution at a value of nearly 7 billion US dollars per year, according to a particular research. And it's quite interesting to know that they control pollution to a very minimal rate, and it makes sense for the entire world. This particular discourse, yes, exactly, that's a tree I'm talking about, how it has different things. It's quite beautiful to have that, so that people can know as well, not just people in this line, not just people studying forestry, but also everyone can understand from this tree what are the benefits of trees to an environment of people. Yes, so I would like to ask a few questions. Global CO2 emissions are now 37 billion metric tons annually, and that seems to be like the conversation now. At the last COP conference that happened in Dubai recently, the climate conference that happened in Dubai, the discourse was also around transitioning from fossil fuels, and that's very important. I think that's one of the striking points of the discourse they had at the summit. I've seen some of the works you've done, I've seen some of the places you've been to. At some point, I saw how that you had experience in Afghanistan, Bhutan, Thailand, and of course
Right.
you've worked with the World Bank, United Nations, Food and Agriculture Organization, UNFAO, UNESCAP, and so many of that. So I want to say, yes, from what you've seen from research and from your own personal study, you must have traversed through these ecological zones. So I want to understand the variations or the differences, as it were, of these particular, the forests that you have. If you have worked in the forest in Afghanistan, for instance, I'm so sure it's quite different from what you have in Thailand or perhaps in India. So let's see, what are the variations, especially now that everybody's talking about planting trees. That is very important to plant trees, especially to tackle climate change. So let's have your insight on how you have traversed different ecological niches.
Right. Thank you very much. Actually, all the countries that I visited, what I have seen that people are now trying to restore, the forest, and then trying to the plant more trees that are suitable to grow over them. Even in North Korea, where I visited, they have planted a lot of pine trees, and then they are interested to restore the ecological balance that were destroyed previously with the war, I suppose. Similarly, in Afghanistan, what I saw that they had plenty of forest to start with, and because of the war with Russia, now they lost almost all forest, and now they are planting. They are planting like species like poplars and other fast-growing species, including their own like pistachio, hing trees, again to restore the soil and then the whole ecological niche over there. This is what I found, and people in Timor Leste, for example, they are also trying to protect their trees. But some of the indigenous people over there, they are also harvesting the trees like the trees like Santalum album, again without knowing their core value of the tree as such. So to me, though people of the past era, they are concentrated on deforestations, and then increasing the the agriculture field, if you like. But nowadays, people are thinking to have a more trees to be planted, and then they also realize that the whole ecological systems depend on the forest and the trees. This is all over the world. Even in Australia, now they are conserving more trees, and they are also thinking of the this is one of the potential area where climate change could be minimized.
I agree with you very well. What you have your position on that is quite fascinating to know. But yes, again, I know for a fact that you are the chairperson of the Nepal chapter of International Society
Yes.
of Tropical Forest, ISTF, of course, as we have it. And it's quite interesting to know at this point that we are losing our tropical forest. Actually, I must confess, I went on a green walk recently in Nigeria, particular place, about over 40,000 hectares of land was about to be deforested. So we set out on a green walk, which I should have on my screen now. We set out on the green walk to, to canvass against that particular movement. Do not take down the forest. Do not take down the trees. We need them for sustainability, especially now that, climate discourse is all over. And it's very important that we also do our bit. So I know tropical forests we are losing. Nigeria is about 3.5 or 3.7% of deforestation every year. That's exactly the data we have according to United Nations. So as it is now, we are losing tropical forests. But going forward, what do you think tropical forest stakeholders in general across the countries, across continents can do to also make sure that tropical forests are being preserved and conserved to a point that it will also help in attacking climate change and global warming generally?
Right. Thank you. Thank you very much. Actually, the tropical forest is one of the area where we have got maximum biodiversity. Subtropical forest and other alpine forests, montane forests, they don't have much of biodiversity over there. So the tropical forest is the only forest that you can get most out of things like even the food, if you like. Different kinds of food they are available. Different kinds of trees they are available. So that means and different types of animals, small animals, organisms they are available. That means the ecological systems are more balanced over there. So unless you cut the trees, it is naturally the ecological systems are, and then some of the uh, planting schemes also they are bringing over there. But again, but again, uh, it is very difficult to make understand the policy makers also, and to make understand the other entrepreneurs also who are really based their entrepreneurship in tropical forest. What I also think is that there is nothing wrong in harvesting trees, but then we need to replenish it as soon as possible, and then the type of the food that we also get from the tropical forest should be on the sustained basis. Of course, the type of food we get from the forest, they are on seasonal basis, but harvesting without any prejudice, or harvesting that also without any management, I think that will be very, very dangerous for to keep all the tropical forests in status quo. So my feeling is that although the tropical forests are also very important for us, we should try to maintain, and we should try to look at the forest management system, the whole forest management system that will not only take care of providing food and services to us, to the biodiversity, but also to balance the whole ecology. That is the utmost important point. This is what I think.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Matia. For one of time, I would also like to ask a question about ecological equilibrium. Of course, now at this point that we know there's a saying, like I used to believe also, that nature has a way of balancing itself, due to ecological processes and all of that. Nature has a way of recycling and balancing itself. We know that to be true. But over time, in recent times, we've seen that it's quite hard for nature to balance itself, especially with the effect and the activities of, anthropogenic activities, like we call it, human activities, essentially, are affecting the way nature can, balance itself. So it seems like a big deal now. So get us into equilibrium, ecological equilibrium of our ecosystem now. Help us into, I think, because I think you are very vast in that aspect as well. So help us into how to maintain ecological equilibrium across tropical forest and even to the rest of the world.
I think thank you very much. It is the concept that human beings are more greedy, if you like, greedy of themselves. No, wildlife also and the small organism also, they have the right to the right to live on, like human beings. So we
I
don't
agree with
think
you.
on that line. Yeah, we don't think on that line, and we don't think on the line so much so that we are we are trying to enjoy ourselves only. But I mean, taking all the forest and then getting employment out of it or economic benefit. We don't think that the equilibrium has disrupted or there is equilibrium. We are changing the equilibrium. As for example, as I said earlier also, now almost all types of forest are getting devastated or destroyed, so much so that our tigers, rhinoceros, and antelopes, they are also getting less in number. I mean, it is not good that we have all the tigers. It is not good that we have all the rhinoceros or antelopes. There should be some balance between them also. In a So as I said also earlier also, now we are losing vultures because of the habitat loss and because of the pesticide and insecticide that we are using, and the vultures are not surviving because of the pest and diseases. And we should not be very happy because they are the scavengers, the natural cleaners, and that some equilibrium is disrupted somewhere. We don't know because we have not calculated that fact, or we have not observed that fact, or we have not accounted for that one. But something has gone wrong somewhere. So so we should be very careful on that also. And what I think that a sanctum sanctorum type of forest we needed to, so that we can more carbon is absorbed, and then the temperature rise will be minimized, so much so that the ecosystem services are there. And this is how I think.
Human beings are very selfish. For us to think in the way we think,
Yeah.
exploiting the forest, at the expense of the forest, at the expense of biodiversity, we are encroaching into the forest, depleting the ozone layer, depleting the forest as well, and all of these things that we are doing. But I used to say, an assertion really, I don't know how true it is for everybody, but I believe personally that when we consider nature, I think humans are part of nature as well. And that's one of the aspects we have seen not to. We seem to be removed away from that reality because we are a major part of the nature. People just say, when you talk about nature, they think it is vegetation, all of those biotic and, abiotic elements in the universe. And they try to extrapolate humans away from that equation. We are a part of nature, and I believe that to be true. And just
Exactly.
like you've
Yes.
also
Yeah.
said, yeah, very well. So let's talk about FICO semiconductor. Of course, I saw that it really, piqued my interest when I saw that one of the things you've done, FICO semiconductor, you described the new plant variety, and it's quite notable that your name is also noted as the author of that
Yeah.
particular variety of plant, as FICO semiconductor variant Montana Amatya. Beautiful. Help us into how you describe this new variety of plants.
Thank you very much. Actually, this is the research I did from in Oxford when I was doing my MSc. Now, in Nepal, there are people would think that we have got two types of ficus semicaudata, but it was not described in a scientific way. So so then I thought that I should try to do that one, and collected, I think, about 35 kilogram of the receptacles, the seed, if you like, the bulb, and about 385 kilogram of herbarium seeds throughout Nepal, right from the 500 meters altitude to the tree, nearly the tree line. And then I went to this to do this research in Oxford, and I went to Cambridge, India. I think I went almost all areas where I can get some information on that one. And then it was I did for 3 years study over there, and I was confident enough that okay, we have got different variety of ficus
Of
semicaudata
ficus
in Nepal,
semiconductor.
ficus semicaudata Nepal, and in Oxford University, I was when I was doing that one, I was advised to go to Cambridge University to find the description of that. And in Cambridge, there was a professor. His name is Dr. Corner. He was the authority of ficus, and he said that yes, you are very right, Amate, and then this is the different variety of ficus semicaudata in Nepal. So, and he also gave the name. So he gave the name ficus semicaudata and variety Montana. Montana means of the mountain. This is what he said in
Oh,
Latin,
like from the
and it
word
was
mountain.
published.
Wow.
Yes, the word mountain, and then he said that you can have your name on it. But I thought that rather having my name on it, I thought that let me have my family name. That's why I wrote Ficus semicaudata variety Montana Amatya. So that
Amatya.
is my Amatya. That is my family name. Like in botany, everybody has got the right to have that one. Like this we say. Pinus raspberry, and somebody else have written that one. And similarly, Surya robusta and the Rasbergi has described that one. So Pinus, so Surya robusta and Rasberg will write like that. So that I got the privilege of writing that one, and it has been published in the American journals called Noban, and I think it is 1995 or something like that. I forget it, but it is available. I could provide the reference on that. And then it has to be published. It has to be published in that journal and in the Latin also, because it has to be published in Latin. And I was not sure how do I do that one. And one of my supervisor, Doctor, I think he's dead now. I'm sorry about it. So he did the Latin translation for me. So I am very obliged to him. He did Latin translation for me, and it has been published in Latin also. So there is a long history.
Saying quite interesting discovery, especially about that naming, that description of plants, of course, how you went through all of that, and the Latin. Yeah, it's quite beautiful to know that you did all of that. I've seen so many of the works you've done, over 55 articles, different awards to your name. Quite amazing,
Right.
impressive, I must say. I feel like clapping for you right on the show. But yes, for want of time, we have to go. It's been a wonderful time with you, Dr. Amatya. It's been a nice
Right.
experience for me as well, and getting to know all of this that you've
My,
done and
yeah,
so many
my,
other things. Just like you've said also, when you started talking about trees as natural-based solutions to climate change, and of course we've seen that it's not just trees we're talking about. We're talking about
yes,
forest and the ecosystem at large. The ecosystem is also
yeah,
in context, because when we talk about trees, we're talking about forest by extension. So it's very important to know that yes, it's good to plant trees. It's good to have conserve our forests that we have. Just like I've not mentioned, this is Plant a Decade initiative, a program that is actually bifurcated into two main goals. The first goal is to bridge the information and knowledge gap on climate education as well as to plant 10,000 trees, and that's what we are doing. The team is currently planting
I see.
10,000 trees
Yeah,
as we speak. Just
yeah,
we are not just
yeah,
going to be theoretical, we are going to be practical,
yeah.
pragmatic about this
Right,
situation. We're
right.
not just going to talk about it like we hear in the news, we hear people say and talk about it, but do less. We want to do more, and that's why we're taking actions, not just talking, but we're also putting that awareness out in the space so that people can know that they have responsibilities and roles towards climate mitigation and adaptation, and they can also be a part of these processes that we are engaging. So that is what PADI is doing. Have anything to say? One last word to encourage people to go in depth into this study, or to also be a part of conserving forest areas that we have in the world
Actually,
and in
yes.
Nigeria particularly.
Actually, particularly in Nigeria, I have not been to Nigeria, but I have been to uh, this Tanzania,
Wow.
and Kenya. Yeah, I saw some of yes, I saw some of the research work of agroforestry in Kenya, and some social program of how the Tanzanian people are doing over there in Tanzania. I have been to only to the two countries, but what I will have thought that we should try to think the people first. Unless the people have got the uh, have got the basic need, they will definitely go and cut the trees. That is for sure. They will not think anything else. So we should try to give the trees can feed them. Trees can feed them. Trees can give them clothes. Trees can give them different types of products, ecosystem services. These types of these types of education are very important to start with. Once they know, once they know the importance of trees, they will not go and think is that the education is needed in terms of the growing trees, and then we as you and me as an expert on that one try to see how the how trees will provide different types of services, and how which types of trees would be resilient for our climate, and so on and so forth. So to start with, again, I repeat that a good lessons that trees would grow, and trees would give us happiness would be the our first and foremost slogan, if you like.
Wonderful time with you on this edition of Plant a Decade initiative, and I've really learned so much, and I know someone out there is also learning and has learned so much today. So let's move away now. We would have to draw the curtains for today's edition. Thank you for joining once again, Doctor. It's been a nice time having you. We hope to have you some other time
Yes,
if you have,
my
as we continue on this journey. Thank you so very much. Do take care of yourself.
thank you
Bye.
very much. Thank you very much, and then I really enjoyed talking to you. Do you?
Oh no, it's
And
quite resourceful what you've spoken about. Thank you very much.
but but I thought that since it is for the student and the graduate student, I thought that giving a small very basic things of trees, and then go slowly grow and go about the climate change, and then the UN sustainability type of things. So I'm sorry about that. I'm but I think the last thing is that I think the trees are the gift of nature again, and the gift of nature we should try to conserve. We should try to conserve for our, not only for our human beings. They are the basic things for our wildlife also, and organism, small organisms also, and we should be sharing this concept also. It is not only for us.
Thank you so very much. This is PADI
By
Plant a
then,
Decade
by then,
initiative.
you happy Christmas and then happy New Year 2024.
All
Thank you.
right, all
Bye.
right. Thank you. Namaste.